As a kid, I was one of those kids that believed in Santa Claus for a little bit too long. And the reason that I believed in Santa Claus too long wasn't really that I questioned whether Santa was real or not. It was because I thought that believing in Santa Claus made me a better human being. Because Santa Claus was good in every way. Santa Claus did all of these nice things to the kids and everybody loved him. So I thought that if I didn't believe in Santa Claus, that would make me a bad person. Now there are three things that determine your success as a man in this world. The first one is self-mastery. The second one is your ability to see the world for what it is. And that is called red pill. And the third one is your ability to communicate between yourself and the world. Now the red pill one is a painful one. And I want to be careful when I speak about red pill because I know that there's like a whole community of people that speak badly about women and badly about girls, and they say it's a red pill thing, where I just think that these people are stupid. Now, red pill changed my life, and it changed my life for the better. But red pill was always a painful thing. So if you haven't seen the movie Matrix, basically what red pill is that the main character gets the opportunity to see the reality and the world for what it actually is, or he gets the choice to stay in the fake world that he has been living in so far. But the fake world is much more comfortable and is much more nice compared to reality. So basically red pill, what that means, it's when the main character chooses to take the red pill and see reality for what it is, instead of the blue pill and live in the fake world, the dream. And every successful man, as far as I can tell, chooses to see reality, cold, harsh truth for what it is, even if it hurts his feelings. So for instance, one of these painful truths can be that if your girlfriend dumped you to be with another man, to realize that the reason she dumped you is because the other man is better than you. Now that is painful. That is really painful. I made a list yesterday because I realized that I'm turning 30 now, and there has been many lies that I was told throughout my life that sabotaged me, because I could not see reality for what it was, because I was told these lies. And usually these lies are told because people think that it's a virtuous thing. So for instance, telling a kid that Santa Claus is real is a virtuous thing because it makes the kid happy, right? Now, Santa Claus, does it really matter whether a kid believes in Santa Claus or not? You can argue that all day. The important thing for me is that as an adult, if you want to be able to progress in this world and you want to be able to make a change, and if you want to be able to succeed, you cannot see reality through the lens of your own pleasure, right? So, for instance, if a girl dumps you, you should be able to find out why and take full responsibility and know that you were the reason all along. You were not good enough, right? And that is painful. So I wrote the list, and the first point on this list is such a great point. It is this lie that I was told, that you should always be loyal. And when you talk about loyal, there might just be the simple thing that you're loyal to your team, or you're loyal to your friends, or you're loyal to your partner or your family. But loyalty, as far as I can see, is usually limiting a lot of people because they choose to be loyal to their own beliefs, even when they find out that probably their own beliefs are wrong. So for instance, I was loyal to the belief that Santa Claus was real, okay? Even though I kind of knew Santa Claus wasn't real, I was loyal to the idea that Santa Claus was real. And if you look at the kid that just found out how babies are made, and that kid may say, I will never ever have a baby myself because I will not do that thing. Wouldn't it be stupid for that kid to be loyal to that idea even as they grow up and become an adult? It would be, right? because usually people form their opinions too soon before they have all the information. And if you choose to be loyal to your own ideas, your old ideas, when you find out new information, that means that you lack the ability to adapt. And basically it means that your ego is too big for yourself to accept that you once upon a time was wrong, and that you probably made a decision and formed an opinion way too early. So when it comes to people being loyal to your friends, well, if you just meet someone and you get to know them, and you think that's a really good and cool person, and then he brings you along to his friends, and all of a sudden you're part of a team, right? Whatever team that is, it is a sort of team, okay? And you may be rooting for a certain political opinion, for instance. Now, if you are loyal, you just kind of fell into that position, right? You didn't really actively choose to be a part of that team. That's just the way that life approached you, and you approached life. If you later on find out that that's some crazy fucking ass shit, Nazi bullshit or whatever, right? Should you really be loyal? I don't think so. I think being loyal in that position is stupid. Now, a lot of people are loyal in those positions because they cannot admit that they made a mistake. And maybe the person that they know or people they know within the crazy team are nice people. But maybe still it isn't the best idea to be loyal to that team, okay? So being loyal is actually a lot more than just being a good person for your friends. It is being loyal to your own ideas and your own thoughts. So basically there was this man called Darwin, and usually I say it that way to, you know, dumb it down really low, because I think that most people know who Darwin was, but I don't think people really understand the message all the time. He says survival of the fittest. Basically what that means is that those who adapt will progress and continue to live, whereas those who don't adapt will not continue to live, and they will not be as successful. So if you are loyal, that is limiting your ability to adapt. And that's what I found out. So now, when I get to know something new, and let's say I meet a new person and they start talking about this politician that I never heard of, and all of a sudden I realize, shit, that politician is evil. And then I form my opinion about that politician just based on what my new friend told me. And I don't really know the politician. Now, am I going to be loyal to that idea even later on when I find out that that politician is actually a pretty good person? A lot of people will stay loyal. And that is the opposite of what Darwin taught us. And for instance, there are many cases just like that, where people are loyal to their own opinions that they formed before they were actually well informed. So being loyal to me, it is something good, as long as you're loyal to something good. But being able to admit that maybe you're loyal to something fucking stupid, or maybe you married some crazy ass bitch, maybe, yes maybe, it's time to adapt. This next one was actually something that I was told by my family, and the reason was actually kind of like a coping strategy for my parents, because we did not have a lot of money. And what my family told me, or my parents, especially my mom, was that money does not make you happy. And there is truth to that. But if you say that to a kid, the kid is going to interpret that too far. So for me, I was well into my adult years when I realized, well, money is actually kind of important. That's one good espresso. So for me, now this is probably something where I'm different from most people, but I was limited by thinking that money was not important for a really long time. Now, that freed me from a lot of stress and a lot of following the rules or following the system, because you're supposed to follow the system in order to make money, right? How do you get money? Well, you get an education and then you get a regular job, right? That's how you get money. And in some ways I was freed from that because I did not feel the pressure about thinking about money, but it also limited me because I did not understand that if you have money, a lot of problems in your life will be solved. And money, in some ways, is a currency or even a definition of value. Okay? Now, if you let that sink in for a while, just like I had to do, there's no, like, you define value through money by saying that is worth that amount of money. Well, that means that money is actually pretty damn important. Okay, so that was a painful one for me. Now, I believe that most people actually find out pretty much earlier than me that money is really important, but I found out late, and that was painful for me. So yeah, let's move on. I have this list right here that I prepared for this one, and this one here, this one is something that I found out really, like, I figured this one out now this last year, or maybe even this last couple of weeks actually. And this is gonna be a painful, but you hear a lot of people say, I am my own worst critic, okay? And here's the thing, we critique people that are above us, but we don't critique people that are below us. So if you have someone who is below you, you will not critique that person to the extent where you're gonna try to make that person worse or feel bad about themselves. So you're not gonna bring up the flaws in a person that you think is beneath you. But if you have a person that you think is above you, you're gonna bring out the flaws immediately. So for instance, there are people who have trained, let's say for a year, and maybe they are making good progress, right? But they will look at me and they will critique me way harder than they critique themselves. Because in their eyes, I am above them, because my camera ran out of SD space, so I just had to delete some files. Now let's get back on track. So if you say that you're your own worst critic, that basically means that maybe you haven't yet reached the level where other people critique you hard enough. And for me, I reached a point where I realized, okay, there is no need for me to critique myself on something that I cannot change. So for instance, there are a lot of things that I cannot change about myself that I would like to change if I could, but I cannot. And there are things that I know I can get better at, but I choose not to get better at those things because they are not worth my time and my effort, because I have different things that I think would help me out more if I put my effort to it, right? So I reached a point where I become aware of everything that I can critique about myself. But I don't choose to fix it unless I think it's worth my time and effort to fix it. And the haters or the other people will critique me about those things that I do no longer critique myself about. And the hard realization here is that if you think that you're your own worst critic, that probably means that you haven't really gotten that far in your development and your success to the point where other people critique you harder than you critique yourself. So for instance, the famous people, they will get so much fucking critique to the point where it's ridiculous, okay? And for some reason, everybody thinks it's okay to critique these people because they are so high above the rest of us that for some reason we just think it's fine. Where, you know, I would like to disagree. I still think that people think that those famous celebrities are much higher up than they really are, when the truth is that they take a shit every morning like the rest of us. I want to speak about women as well, because Red Pill is a lot about women. The reason for that is because the meaning of life, according to biology, is to reproduce. It's to continue to live on. Now, a human being cannot live forever, but human beings could technically live forever, which means that it's not a finite game. Your life may be a finite game, right? Because you will die, but humanity and your purpose is an infinite game where the goal is to just live on, and you need to pass on your genes. And if you want to pass on your genes, you need to find a partner, you need to find a woman. And that's a big part of the Red Pill, is figuring out how to find a woman, right? Or how women think and how they act and why they choose some men over other men. And that's why Red Pill, you know, for some reason or for that reason, gets a lot of hate, because women don't like when men try to cheat their way to get a woman. A woman wants a man to just come as he is, so she can make up her own mind whether he is the quality man that she wants to be with or not. But she don't want a man to have a cheat code where he can just tick off all the boxes and then like trick or cheat his way to getting a woman. And that's why women hate ridicule, because they want the men to be real so they can make a clear judgment, and they don't want the men to fake it. And I actually believe that the women are right. I believe that you should not have to fake shit. You should figure out, okay, this is what a woman wants, and you should try to become that, not just act like that. Don't just act confident. No, you need to become confident. You need to develop yourself to the point where you're competent enough to handle pretty much anything, and then you need to be brave enough to trust that competence. And when you are brave enough to trust your own competence, you will be confident. And the confidence is what a lot of men say that the women want. Now, if you want to know what women want, there is no one better to listen to than Jordan Peterson, because he actually figured that out and he put it out in a video. I think that for some people it's hard to connect the dots between what he says and reality. And I believe that that is the limitation for a lot of people. So I'm gonna try to say how I interpreted what Jordan Peterson said, and this is the foundation for my life. Like, this is what I base my entire life on, is what this principle that Jordan Peterson says. Basically, a woman wants the best man possible. How does a woman know what man is the best man? Well, the man who performs the best, obviously, right? And now, there are these things called hierarchies. I hope I said that right. It felt wrong. Basically, if you go into a workplace, let's say that the cleaner at the workplace is at the far bottom, and then you have the CEO or the boss that's at the top. And the boss that's at the top is there because he has the competence and confidence to do the things that the cleaner, for instance, could not do. The boss at the top, the CEO, could clean the toilets. That is not a difficult job. It may suck, but it's not difficult. But the cleaner could not be a CEO, okay? So there we have like a spectrum of everybody in between. And women basically want the man that's at the top, or as close to the top as possible. So the woman will always try to go for the best man at the top. And basically what that means is that men compete with each other to come or get to as close to the top as possible in order to get the best girl. And that's why we men perform, that's why we compete, that's why we work. We do all of that just to get to the top of the hierarchy so we can have the best woman. Now, if it was just about reproducing, you could get any woman. But we all know that we don't just want any woman, we want that special woman, right? We want the best woman. And typically, the best woman is the best woman in most guys' eyes. And typically, the best man is the best man in all women's eyes, which means that we all basically want the same things. Which means that you can become very clear about what you should do in order to get the best woman. Become the most competent and confident man to climb back to the top of the hierarchy of whichever domain you choose. So if you're in the gym, it's about the gym. If you're the most jacked guy at the gym, you're at the top of that hierarchy. If you're at a workplace where, let's say that you're doing math, let's say that you're in class and you're doing math better than everybody else, you're just smarter, then you're at the top of that hierarchy. So the trick here to succeed as a man is to figure out what are your talents, what are you good at, and then go into that domain and climb to the top. Shit, some bugs all over here. So women will say that they want all kinds of things, okay? So I'm gonna use myself for an example, and if you don't like me when I'm cocky, you should not watch this part, okay? Because I will tell the truth, even though it means that some people think I'm arrogant. Girls typically want taller men. I'm not a tall man, okay? And yet, when girls are with me, they don't even notice the fact that I'm not a tall man, because they see everything else. The domains that I have succeeded in. For instance, I'm a fit person, okay? And for instance, I'm actually living my life as a YouTuber. Those are two things that I've been successful with, and those things will carry me. I will have confidence and I will have competence, because getting jacked is hard, and living as a full-time YouTuber, that shit is hard and it takes time, right? So when you climb towards the top of the hierarchies, those small things that men think that women want, all of a sudden doesn't really matter. So women will not even notice that I'm not a short man because they will see everything else. And then if I bring it up or if it just comes up, the women will try to make themselves shorter because they are scared that my height will be an insecurity for me. So she's trying to make herself shorter in order for me to feel comfortable, okay? So a lot of that shit, sure, it helps to be a tall man, but if you're the number one alpha at the fucking top of the hierarchy, the rest of the shit doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. And that's shit. This is one really painful thing that I realized. You can be an evil man at the top. There are evil men at the top, and women will not care that they are evil. They just want the man at the top. That is a tough red pill to swallow. That's a tough pill. Apparently it's tough to say it even. That is a tough pill to swallow. The fact that a woman will go with the evil man at the top of the hierarchy instead of you who are a good man, but you're just not that successful. That is painful, but it is true. As far as I can tell, that is true. So, if you want to be successful with women, as far as I can tell, and this is based on Jordan Peterson, okay? So you search on YouTube for what women want and pick the Jordan Peterson video, and if you can connect that video to your life and your reality, you're halfway there, okay? Now, next one. This is one of the things that bother me a lot, okay? So there are things that people say in order to virtue signal that are not true, but make them popular. So for instance, something that people are saying to boys is that you are good the way you are. You're good enough the way you are. And that is the most fucking evil, toxic thing that you can tell a man or a kid or a boy. Because if that boy stops developing at 7 years old, he's gonna have a pretty fucking shitty life as an adult, okay? So if you want to tell a kid that you're good the way you are now, that is the last resort. If you're looking at the kid and the kid is really crying, really upset, really everything is bad, okay, maybe you can say to cheer him up, okay? We share the kids up with Santa Claus. We can also share the kid up with saying that you're good enough the way you are. But the truth is that you're not good enough the way you are. I am not good, like I am very far from good enough the way I am now. I have so much to improve. Like, I just told you guys that, well, I'm fit, right? Which means that I'm actually pretty successful in the domain of fitness. But if you compare me to the guys at the Olympia stage, I have no chance. I'm not even in the fucking game. I am so far low there. So if I compare myself to the average person, yes, sure, I'm pretty good. If I compare myself to the Olympia competitors, I don't stand a chance. And that is not a case of work ethic or drive or anything. I've put a lot into this. Just, you have your genetics and you're limited. And sometimes people don't understand the levels, because when I walk into the gym, a lot of times I am the guy at the top of the hierarchy. I am the most jacked or leanest guy in there with the most muscle on my frame, and still I stand no chance compared to the Olympians, which means that there are so many levels that people don't even see, that people really underestimate the people at the top. So I want to become as good as possible with my bodybuilding and my fitness, and I am not good enough the way I am. I need to improve. Or let's switch this and turn it around to YouTubers. Most people who make a YouTube video, they get like 5 views and that's it, and there it stops. And then they make another video and shit, that one only got 2 views. And then they make another video and oh shit, that only got 8 views. And then you need to do that for a couple of years, okay? And I'm just gonna tell you the way it is. If you make 1 video a week when you start off, you're not gonna stand a fucking chance. You're way too slow. You're not doing enough. That just won't fucking cut it. I make 1 video every day, and I plan on doing that for as long as my brain can fucking do it. Or as long as that is the smartest approach. Maybe I will reach a point where I would probably benefit more from making less videos, but I'm not there yet, I believe. And in comparison to a normal person or people here, like in daily life, I am successful. But if you look at like the big guys on YouTube, I'm nothing. I'm fucking nothing compared to the big guys on YouTube, right? Which means that I am not good enough the way I am. Now, I do believe that I have a lot of more potential in becoming a good YouTuber or a good podcaster compared to where I can go as a bodybuilder. But I'm gonna do the best in both domains. And then I'm just gonna see how far I can take it. But if someone tell me that if I meet a girl, okay, and we connect real well, and she tells me that I am good enough the way I am, I will question whether or not I should stick with that girl. I will probably not stay with that girl. Now, she will probably be able to figure out what kind of person I am. So I am not the girl that no, I'm not the girl. I am not the man that needs a girl to point out my flaws. I know my flaws, okay? And I don't need a girl that tells me to work harder or go harder or to do that shit. I need a safe place to come home to where I can feel comfortable, and where she tells me, she can tell me that I am good. She can tell me all the positive things. She can boost my ego, and I will love that shit. But if she says that I'm good enough the way I am, that's a different thing. That has a completely different meaning. And for me, that's not okay. That's not fucking okay. And to tell a boy, like, if you choose not to become the best version of yourself, in my opinion, that's a sin. Because you owe yourself to the world. You owe the world to become the best version of yourself that you possibly can be, and give that person to the world and improve the world as much as possible. And people only think about themselves. What can that person give to me? What can the world give to me? Oh, I have my rights, right? These people always look at themselves and what other people can give them. And typically the way they are so self-centered that they are depressed. Because thinking about yourself all the time makes you depressed. If you think about how can I make other people happy, when you make other people happy, you're gonna feel really fucking good, okay? So making life about how you can improve other people's lives is the way to improve your own life. That's a paradox, and you just need to hack your way into the circle. So I dedicate my life to making myself the best man I can be, and then giving that man to the world. And that's what I truly believe in, and that is my purpose. My purpose is to become the best person I possibly can be and give that person to the world. And I'm giving everything. I don't want nothing back. I need enough to continue to develop. And after that, I don't want anything else back, and I'm just gonna give myself to the world. This next one is a painful one. And I believe this for a real long time. And it was similar to the Santa thing, where I thought it made me a good person to think this way. And I'm not gonna dig too deep in this, I'm just gonna say it so maybe you can get your mind going right, okay? Everybody is worth equally as much. Everybody is worth equally as much. You cannot define worth or value without also realizing that all people are not worth as much. A person who thinks about nothing but himself, is not very competent, does not have any skills, can't really help anyone out, is not worth as much as Elon Musk, who is literally trying to save humanity by becoming a multi-planet species. So he's trying to save entire humanity and bring us to like Mars or whatever, right? That's what he's trying to do. If we get to choose as a humanity, should we let the old person who has no skill, no competence, cannot add any sort of value to the rest of us, or should we choose Elon Musk to survive? I think that pretty much everyone can agree on the fact that maybe we should let Elon Musk live on, okay? And you may fucking hate him for whatever reason, maybe media choose to only show certain aspects of certain people because media is the way media is. But here's the thing, this may sound really depressing, but if you understand that you are not worth anything more than the value that you give to the world, your worth is determined by how much you can give to other people. That is the perfect driver to become the best version of yourself. So when I realized that, everything in my head changed. When I realized that, okay, I am not worth as much as some other people. That is the perfect driving force and the perfect motivation for me to become the best person I can be. Because I want to be worth as much as possible. I want to carry value. I want to be a valuable person. For me, that is the best part of Red Pill. Realizing truths that you did not believe before, and then once you have carried your way through the pain of realizing that you kind of suck, realizing that you can actually improve yourself. Now, next one, we only have 2 left. You need a formal education. And this was pushed really hard in Sweden, where I'm from, and it's probably pushed pretty hard anywhere else. The truth is that if you become really skilled at something, anything, you become skilled at that. You can just start a company and tell other people, hey, I'm good at this, I can help you with that if you give me money, right? No formal education is needed. And then some people would be like, yeah, but it's really hard to get a job if you do that. You need a proof, like you need a proof. The formal education is the proof. Well, if you do your service for free to people and they will see that you do it really, really well and that you did it really good and that it is worth their money, you show that I'm good at this, I did this for you for free and it is worth money, and then like they can give you a rating, right? They can give you a review and you can use that review, and later on you just need to get going, right? And then you will have the truth, because the truth will be in the results. The truth is in the pudding, right? So that you need a formal education, that is not true. Now, I do believe that a formal education is good for most people, because the hardest thing isn't really to do what you do. Like, the biggest aspect of my job as a YouTuber is to figure out what to do. Nobody else told me to do this video. Nobody else gave me the script for this video. And nobody else tells me that I need to wake up at a certain time, I need to edit that thing, and I need to make a new video. I need to figure out what video I'm gonna make, and then I'm gonna make it. Nobody else tells me to do this. Whereas I believe that most people actually need to know what to do, and they cannot figure out what to do on their own. A lot of people cannot figure out what to do unless somebody else tells them to. And that's where the formal education is good, because it's a system that helps you guide your way forward, where the system tells you what to do. And I do believe that it's great for most people. Most people is good, but if you're an ambitious person, the formal education system is way too fucking slow. Like, I fucked up so many things in my formal education because I was sitting at a lesson, and 5 minutes in, I understood basically what the whole class was going to be about. I understood everything that I was going to have to learn within the 60 coming minutes, and then I just fucking fell asleep. Because how am I supposed to focus and take 60 minutes to learn something that I just learned in 7 minutes? Okay, so for me, the formal education system was not good, because I think that it was an inefficient and slow way to learn. And we are all different, we all have different circumstances. But for me, I believe that if you're an ambitious person, if you have drive, there's no reason to limit yourself to the speed of education and the speed of learning and the speed of development to other people's speed when they are not driven. If they are not driven, like if you take the average person is not driven. And if you're driven and you're going with a formal education, you're limiting yourself to the speed of other people's learning. And that is not efficient. I have this last and final point here. And this one I was actually told, my father told me this one, but he didn't tell me. I interpreted my father wrong. So my father said that usually the talented people don't last, because once it gets difficult, they drop out. And my interpretation was, talent doesn't matter. Which means that I was entering different fields, let's say that I had a period of my life where I went all in on becoming a musician. And I refused to believe that talent was needed. when the truth was that if I would have put the same amount of effort into something else where I actually was talented, I would have been very, very successful. But I just didn't have the talent. Like, I wasn't, like, what do you call it, tone deaf? Like, I could hear, like, I was not talented enough. Let's put it that way. I was not at the bottom, but I was not at the top. And I was not talented enough to become as good as I wanted to be. Now, I did a lot of things when I grew up where I was not talented, but I just worked really, really, really hard. And some people thought that I was talented because I got good results, but the result was not good in comparison to the effort that I put in. So this all boils down to what I said earlier when it comes to getting women and climbing the hierarchy of competence within a certain field. You want to choose a field where you can do good, which means that you want to figure out what you are good with or what you are good at. And then you want to go all in on that. And if you want to, let's say that you see somebody else who is a good bodybuilder and you think to yourself, I really, really, really want to be a good bodybuilder. But then you dedicate yourself for a certain period of time and you realize that you just don't have the gifts, you just don't have the genetics. Maybe you have narrow shoulders and a wide waist, for instance. That does not mean that you can't continue and develop yourself and become a bodybuilder. You can do the best that you can do. But if the goal is to climb the hierarchy of competence, maybe it's smarter to find out what you are good at and then direct yourself in that direction. And people will be like, well, I'm not passionate about that. I'm not passionate about math, even though I'm good at math. The thing is that once you get going, you will get results and you will become addicted to the results. And then you will become passionate. So I didn't really give a shit about fitness, but when I started working out, I got results faster than the other people at the gym, okay? And then I got addicted to the results. And when I got addicted to the results, that's where my passion came from. So I didn't watch any bodybuilding. I had no idea about fitness people. Like, I had no idea. I just ended up at the gym one day. I stuck with it for a while. I realized that I got good results. And then I just went with it because I got addicted to the results. So the idea that you should follow your passion instead of following what you're good at, I think that is a mistake, because if you actually go with what you are good at, you will become passionate about that thing. Now that is my very, very strong belief, okay? So hopefully this video helps you to shortcut a bunch of shit that I had to go through the hard way. Of course, if I tell you that all people aren't worth as much, okay, that the value of different people are equal, you may think that I'm a bad person for saying that, and that is fine. Like, I get enough hate, I get hate all the time, it doesn't matter for me, okay? Well, it does matter, but I'm becoming better at it. If you can realize that, okay, some people are actually more valuable than other people, maybe you can come to the realization that you should try to become valuable. Okay, so once you take yourself through the pain of the red pill, you will actually be able to become a competent person and actually make a difference in this world. So let go of your old beliefs and don't be loyal to shit that is no longer true. That's what I wanted to say today. I hope you liked the video. If you liked the video, I would appreciate if you like it. And I would really appreciate if you subscribe. I'm going all in on this YouTube channel. This is the biggest passion I have, and this is my goal, and this is my ambition, and this is my field, my domain, where I choose to climb the hierarchy. So I want to become one of the best YouTubers in the world. That is my goal, or that is my direction more so. And it means a lot to me if you subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'll see you in the next one.